My name is David Chernati, PDG number 154248. I'm from Lafayette, New Jersey, and this is what's in my bag. My brother introduced me to disc golf in the summer of 2020, and I haven't looked back since. In the beginning of the pandemic, we were looking for ways to entertain ourselves and stay outside, and disc golf filled that spot for me. Anyone who's played with me before knows that I rely very heavily on slow discs. I heard Scott Stokely talk about throwing the slowest disc to reach the target without going past it, and that is exactly what I do. The atom, the reactor, and the relay are pretty much my every shot disc at this point. And without any further ado, let's get into the discs. The first disc in my bag is a MVP Atom I carry in electron medium and the proton plastic. I use it for pretty much every shot underneath of 250 feet. Really gentle hyzers, a hyzer flip to flat with the right finish, and the proton plastic is a little bit more stable, so I use it for more or less mid-range shots up to 250 feet. The Glitch is one of the newest discs in my bag. I pretty much have been using it for warming up. I use it for really close putts in zero wind, dead straight, a lot of glide. I feel like I barely have to put anything on it, and it's just easily floating towards the basket. I've also been using it for very gentle anhyzer shots with a forehand, something where I want to minimize my fade and just like a little snap. I used to play Ultimate in college, and so this is a pretty comfortable disc for me at the moment. The next putter in my bag is the Entropy. I carry two. The Electron Entropy is a little bit more understable, or at least more straight flying with a fade. If I throw it with an anhyzer, it'll really hold the anhyzer line for quite a long time, but still have the stability of the Entropy. The Plasma Entropy is more stable, so I use it mostly for hyzers or like a really strong fade at the end, and also for forehand discs. If I'm looking for a little bit more skip, I might even use this one because the plastic is just a little more slick than Electron. I carry three mid-ranges: the Reactor, the Pyro, and the Hex. The Hex is pretty new. I'm just trying it out at the moment, but this die was done by a friend of mine, Send It Custom Disc Dies. It started out straight with a little bit of a fade, but now the Reactor is more of a hyzer flip to straight with a fairly minimal fade. I'll use this if it's just a little bit further than my Atom shot, or if I need something that is maybe a little bit more uphill. The Pyro I use for something a little bit more stable than my Entropy, also for forehands. It just fits in my hand a little bit better for those forehand shots, but I generally will go with the slower disc. The Hex is pretty new to my bag. It's a 169 gram Hex. I really like the feel in my hand, and what I've been using it for is some pretty dead straight shots, like downhill 350 feet, tunnel shots, just a touch of hyzer, it flips up to flat and goes dead straight. I have tried it for some turnover shots, so I find that if I throw it flat, it'll drift to the right for a really long time, fade at the end. Pretty awesome. Probably gonna find a more secure spot in my bag going forward. The fairway section of my bag is probably the deepest. It runs pretty deep. In terms of the 6-speed category, I carry 4 discs. Some of them overlap a little bit. For the most understable, I'll throw a signal, neutron signal. Pretty much is a really quick hyzer to flat and right turning shots, or with a little bit slower arm speed but a little more spin, I can get really sustained anhyzers with just a very, very gentle fade at the end. The next, and probably the disc I go to the most, is a neutron relay. I carry this in 172 grams. It does say that it has a -2 turn, but what I find is if I release this flat, it doesn't like to turn a lot. For me, it's a lot of spin will generate the turn, so I'll throw it mostly on anhyzers that I want to turn for a really long time, but still has a pretty reliable fade. If I'm looking for some hyzer flip and less turn, more fade, I'll go to the Crave, the Serahokum Crave. And a lot of these discs I can really push, 350 or further. They go almost as far as my 9 speeds, but I find they're much easier to control. They fit better in my hand, so more than likely you'll see me throwing these discs. The next disc I have in that 6-speed category is the resistor. I pretty much use this as a disc to control distance. It doesn't get quite as much distance as the Volt in my bag, but still has some reliable fade. At the moment, it's if I release it flat, it will turn a little bit, so I generally will throw it like hard on with a gentle hyzer. Still about 350 feet, but I'm probably trying to keep it around 300. Currently in my bag, I'm carrying only 3 volts. Sometimes I carry as much as 5. The 3 that stay in there the most, I have this neutron volt, is very understable. Still has a stable finish, but I can throw it flat and it'll drift to the right, which seems to be a little different from most of the other volts in my bag. This orange plasma volt is 169 grams, is the first MVP disc that I ever purchased. Super reliable at the moment. It's pretty much a dead straight, maybe a minimal fade, but 350 easy plasma volt. This next one is a cosmic neutron volt, a little bit heavier, a lot of fade. And I use it pretty much for shots that I want to go straight for about 200 feet or maybe 150 feet and then have a really significant fade. If I'm looking for more skip, I'll probably go to a proton, but more so now I'm playing courses where I don't need skip shots, so this is what comes out. The next 9-speed category that I have is the plasma, also 169 grams. This one is pretty stable for me now, but it is straighter than my Volt. It gives me an extra 25 to 50 feet on a good throw. Doesn't really turn a whole lot, but still has a very reliable fade at the end. So as I'm going through my bag, I realize that I'm actually missing a disc. I carry a Virus, a very understable 9-speed that pretty much a hyzer flip and all turn. A lot of uphill shots that I don't want to have fade, or if I want to make a long turning shot. Moving up in speed, the 11-speed category fluctuates all the time in my bag. I don't throw a whole lot of distance drivers. There's not a whole lot of space here in northern New Jersey for big distance shots, so I generally throw stick with 9 speeds and below. But right now what I'm throwing are Vanish. I've got a 163 gram Proton Vanish, and I've got this 2022 MVP Open Plasma Vanish. Pretty much the way that I describe them is this one is all turn, minimum fade, and this one's all fade. So I can get this to go a little bit to the right, but if I'm looking for something that I know will come back, this is what comes out. These I can definitely push towards 400 feet. Next I've got the Fission Photon. I carry this also in 169 grams. This is a disc that used to be a lot of fade, my most stable disc in my bag, stable distance driver. Now it's starting to turn over a little bit and go more right. It kind of is very similar to the Plasma Vanish at the moment. So I generally now will be throwing it mostly on hyzer, have it punch, have it flip up, go straight for about 350 feet. A pretty reliable fade. So lastly, I got the max distance discs. These are 14 speeds. I've got the Neutron Relativity. This one I believe is 172 grams. Used to be a little bit more stable, faster than I could throw, but now that it's beating in a little bit, it's become a disc that I can throw flat and have it turn reliably, and in a tailwind I can throw it high and just allow it to turn for a really long time, but it will always come back at the end. The disc that I probably will get the most distance out of with the strong tailwind is the patent pending Tenacity. Really domey, very understable. I've been using it a lot for rollers. Very understable, so I throw it on hyzer, it comes up to flat, and then it'll turn pretty much and never come back. So if I throw it with enough hyzer, it just flips up the flat and just rides for a long time. Both the Relativity and the Tenacity, I can push close to 500 feet on a really good throw, but generally speaking, it's maxing out around 420 to 440 feet. Again, my name is David Chernati, PDG number 154248. Thank you for tuning in. This is what's been in my bag.